Pyro is a very interesting class. Pyro's stock loadout is a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none loadout. The flamethrower is very good for team support with its spy checking capabilities and air blast. But over the years, Pyro got secondaries and melees that can both do team support well, leaving stock Pyro as still fine for team support, but you can do better. The flamethrower and shotgun both do decent damage, but other classes have simply better damage at longer ranges. However, Pyro has a lot of unlockable weapons that allow you, the player, to choose what Pyro is good at. For instance, if you want to be the ultimate support Pyro, you can use the home record to destroy sappers and the scorch shot or detonator to destroy sticky traps. If you want to be a frontlines power class, you can equip the flog or dragon's fury to boost your damage to mind-melting numbers. If you want to flank, you can use the detonator to access flank routes and then use the backburner to capitalize on it, yada yada yada, you get it. While most of Pyro's weapons that strengthen him in one area don't have any massive weaknesses, the Dragon's Fury and Flog certainly do. The Dragon's Fury has a very slow air blast, and the Flog just can't air blast at all. But, what if there's a weapon that could boost your damage with very little downside? Well, there is, and it's called the Extinguisher. So, the Extinguisher is a pretty basic weapon. This does mini crits against burning enemies, and that extra damage can be increased even further depending on the duration of their afterburn. If you hit someone that was just lit on fire, you'll deal approximately 140 damage. This thing is clearly designed to be a finishing tool, and boy does it deliver. 140 damage is pretty crazy. That's more than a rocket, a pill, a scattergun meat shot, and 2 melee swings. This thing really packs quite the punch. Before I talk about why this is so good, I need to talk a little bit about WM1. WM1, despite being annoying, is very far from overpowered. The damage of the flamethrower is worse than most power classes, the range is limited, and you are weak to corner peeking. The Extinguisher completely removes the need for WM1 in some scenarios by offering a burst damage alternative. I can't stress how good this is for one of Pyro's worst matchups, Heavy. Since the minigun has such massively higher DPS than the flamethrower, Pyro often struggles to kill Heavy, but with the Extinguisher, since you can deal 140 damage with relative ease, that means half of your flamethrower's work is already done. And you can shorten this time even further by using a shotgun or the flare gun and or using the degreaser. Alright, you get it now, this thing does pretty fatty damage, but where's the utility? Well, I'm glad you asked, because a lesser appreciated stat of the Extinguisher is a speed boost on kill. Although it isn't on-demand speed like the Power Jack, when you kill someone, a speed boost can be just what you need, whether it's to escape, dodge attacks, or chase someone down to get another kill. Granted, the Power Jack is still the king of pyro melees in terms of utility, but the Extinguisher still has some of that up its sleeve. So far, I've only really been talking about the upsides, but that's because this thing doesn't really have much in the way of downsides. Sure, it looks like a lot of red text, but none of them really mean that much. No random crits is basically a nothing stat when this thing has situational mini crits. The slower holster speed can be easily bypassed by swapping between all your weapons, and the damage penalty only comes into play when you're fighting someone that is not on fire, and in which case, why are you using the Extinguisher against them? I've only had this come into play twice. One time was where they got extinguished by a health pack before I could hit them, and the other time was against a Pyro when I had no flamethrower ammo, so I couldn't use the Extinguisher to kill him. Really, the true downside of the Extinguisher is that it's situational, unlike something like the Power Jack. This thing is really difficult to use in super open maps, meaning the only easy way to get Extinguisher kills is via ambushing. And when you're ambushing someone, with the exception of maybe a Heavy, the Flamethrower should be able to kill them just fine. So this thing works best on maps where Pyro is already good, in closed maps with a lot of hallways and corners. But wait, what's this? Pyro actually has a few ways to make use of the Extinguisher out in the open too. The first is with the detonator paired with the degreaser. Detonator jump towards someone, swap to the degreaser to light them on fire, and then quickly hit them with the Extinguisher. It's not super practical as you're basically just a diet trollger, but hey, it's still pretty fun. Alternatively, you could use the scorch shot to stun someone in place and then hit them with the Extinguisher. Since they don't get launched nearly as far as an air blast, it's actually both easier and faster to use the scorch shot than an air blast. But only if they're not already on fire, because if they are, they'll just get launched really far away. Alright, in conclusion, the Extinguisher is a pretty good weapon, one that can even rival the Power Jack in my opinion. The Power Jack solves mobility, while the Extinguisher solves damage. both of which are big problems for Pyro, so I don't know why one is usually considered better than the other. Maybe it's just that using the power jack is much easier because all you have to do is press 3 on your keyboard, as opposed to the Extinguisher, which requires you to get in melee range before they kill you. I highly encourage you to try out the Extinguisher, as it's really satisfying to get strong Extinguisher hits. Whenever I get a clean Extinguisher kill, I just feel as though I earned it more than using WM1. And feeling good feels good, so I recommend you try it. Thanks for watching.